So we are now recorded live on my YouTube and my Instagram. And forgot to tell you, to my right is Venerable Lee, who's been monitoring. He's in training, so everything that you all have been telling me is confidential, and everything that he hears in his ear is confidential. So we abide by the same rules as licensed therapists do in the state of Florida. Um, and at the time of this talk, I just got back from emergency psychological services here locally. So it's been one heck of a day. So I'm in a very restful state and position in my room. But my mind is luminous to take on counseling sessions. Obviously, you all stuck around this long. Obviously, you all have found reasons in your head to stay with each other. Overwhelming evidence.
Yep.
That to convince yourself that this is worth the long shot, this is worth sticking around together. So I commend both of you for that and not giving up so easily, comparable to people your age, which is you guys are millennials, so we're all millennials.
It's lagging terribly. Oh.
Are you guys near your Wi-Fi box? You guys near your Wi-Fi box?
Yeah, I'm right next to it, and my Wi-Fi's on.
Okay.
It's okay now.
Okay. So I said that you guys have obviously found overwhelming amount of reasons to stay with each other. And sticking this far and this long, obviously it's worth it to you. And I commend you for not giving up so easily, comparable to other millennials who do in fact give up quite quickly. Is he aware of your new path on the path of Buddhism?
Yes, he's very aware. Yeah, I've gone to the temple with her. I've sit down and meditated and, pretty much be there, be respectful, do the things that I need to do. And I'm interested learning, just, like a podcast that I hear so I can become a better whatever I already am.
Okay. Do we know what Buddhism is all about?
Well, honestly, not for a fact, but I'm guessing that it's to better ourselves and our lives and, live a happy life. But that's just my point of view and opinion since I'm not really familiar completely with it.
Okay. All right, so let me back up a little bit so I don't forget about what Jen just said about the insecurities and a few natural tendencies in relationships. So yes, so if we don't resolve certain insecurities or haven't learned so much about ourselves, being in a relationship can definitely test, certain things by push buttons within us. But the antidote for that is to remember that he's here with me. He chose me. One must ask, why is he still here? What is his motive, right? What is his motive in continuing to be with me? For me, right? Now, men have a tendency, men are really funny. Men have a tendency where their eyes wander. Their eyes wander and they have a tendency to, fantasize, which they can. And they can. And it's stress relieving for men. Venerable Jayasaro, with this tradition, a senior teacher, when he explained the sila, the gift of safety, the precepts, right? So in Buddhism, there's a threefold training. You have sila, which is the gift of safety. You have the cultivation of the heart, and then you have wisdom. So you have to go in order, 1, 2, and 3. And the first one is to keep the precepts. The precepts in regards to sexual misconduct, Venerable Jayasaro explained, honey, I love you. You know that I love you. But I gotta be honest. Sometimes I have these fantasies. And I like to look at other women. And I find them really attractive. And I just want to let you know that. But I also want to let you know that I will never, ever act on the fantasies that I have in my head. I will always remember what is waiting back at home for me. These are very real examples that he gave that has direct clinical applications in real life, very realistic, right? I find that to be dead honest with men. And the nature of man is, well, nature of man and women is that you have to understand the historical context of human behavior in regards to cheating, right? Um, millions of years ago, thousands of years ago, men did three things and they're very good at it: hunting, gathering, and procreating with a lot of people, with a lot of times of the day, different people, different times of the day. That's how our species able to multiply. Now we went from a couple hundreds to now 8 billion. Okay. And then when it comes to pornography, it's like, why people addicted to pornography? Well, because we didn't have clothes to start off with. Anybody thought about that? So of course, then law made it possible. Adam and Eve, and then modern day law says, okay, you need to have clothes on. If you run around the mall naked, we're gonna have a problem. That would be a charge. So it's no wonder why people, right, addicted to pornography. They're gonna wonder why. Yeah, what is she working with underneath them shirts or skirts or whatever the case may be. So you have to really understand the why behind the tendencies of man and women, so that it can be more forgiving. In Buddhism, the word compassion comes to mind. We have compassion for other people, and we look past the behavior and into the person. But in order to do that, you must cultivate deep understanding about why humans do the things that they do. Silly, not ideal, but these are their tendencies. Now, what separates them from any other animals in the animal kingdom is the ability to think, and the ability to exercise willpower, and the ability to restrain oneself. So this also gives me an opportunity to explain to Junior that she's an awesome gal to veer towards the path of Buddhism, right? Smart people veer towards Buddhism. It's really analytical, it's really psychological. You got to be brave to go into it, and you got to willing to do the work. This is not a practice or philosophy where we just put blind faith and ask Buddha for stuff. It's like, hey, yeah, Buddha, dear Buddha, let me find a wise man. Let me find a good man in my life, a good, healthy man in my life. And yeah, it's no. You got to do the work. You got to do the work on yourself. You got to really work towards the relationship. It emphasizes human effort and self-reliance. Yes.
I always think to myself, and I heard this before, I don't exactly remember where, but anything worth having is not easy to attain. Right. You have to work for it.
Right. So, Jenny's on a good path. What will mend, glue together this relationship, I feel strongly, is both of you merging together with this philosophy and practice of Buddhism. And what is Buddhism? It's just a scientific study of the mind. That's it. Has nothing to do with Buddha. Have nothing to do with monks. Have nothing to do with praying. Have nothing to do with going to the temple. Okay? Temples didn't exist back in the days of the Buddha. The Buddha was very concerned the way how your mind is tripping. That's all he's concerned about, how your mind is tripping and how you create hell and heaven in your mind. And heaven is here on earth, which is both of you. Matter of fact, the only time you're mindful is when you're in love. You think about it. And any other activities, you tend to just wander off. You just have no idea what's happening. But when you start loving each other in the act of love, you notice that, oh my God, he noticed the fragrance. He knows I love roses and flowers, and he noticed my favorite color. You know what I mean? You start noticing things, and it's like, yeah, this is the moment that you are most alive, most conscious, most aware, and fully in the present moment, and so on. So, it's a good thing, really, truly. If you both take the precept together and you promise the gift of safety, then it will change your entire life. Promising to each other that you will not cheat, you will not lie, you will not kill, you will not touch, you will try not to. Try not to touch intoxicating substance, and try not to commit sexual misconduct. You must ask yourself at this pivotal point in your life at age 33 whether or not that you're ready to slow down. You're ready to commit yourself to each other, and that he or she, vice versa, is the most important thing right now in your life. You have to ask these questions. You don't have to answer it tonight. I just want to get you thinking. I just want to get that ball spinning up there. That, where, maybe you guys haven't had a chance to ask these questions amongst yourselves. You don't know the how, because you guys are afraid how the other person would perceive the other. So therefore, if you didn't know how to start the conversation, I'm here to start it for you. And I just want both of you to entertain the thought of, have I had enough fun in my life where, now is a good time to settle down with this woman? Now I want to settle down with this man. Is that I think...
Prost.
Oh, can you hear us?
Yes.
Oh, okay. It's back on.
What was the last thing you guys heard?
We missed what the last.
If we had enough time in our mind to know that if we wanna settle down.
Right. To ask yourself.
If he's had enough fun to where now he's ready to settle down.
And I have thought about that a lot of times, and she knows that I want to spend the rest of my life with her. Well, she knows that.
Yeah, I mean, he has brought up, getting more serious before, but I don't want to just rush into anything either. So I want to make sure that I'm making the right choice, especially since I have my 2 daughters.
And I'm respecting her decisions. And I understand.
Yeah.
So, so taking the precept would be the first step. The second step is let you guys study cognitive behavioral therapy together to understand how you...
Oh, we can't hear you again.
Okay, let me go to my other... Give me 1 second.
Okay.
I'm gonna activate, because I think this is iPad. I think it's always this iPad. So let me deactivate and call you right back. It's always the iPad. This iPad. Hello.
Yeah, it's already different.
It's already different?
Yeah,
it's already
lagging a lot.
Yeah.
Earlier you were the call was lagging, but now it looks like it doesn't go.
Okay.
Oh, there you go.
Then.
Okay, so it's good now, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
All right. So I have a program for couples to work on, and if you're interested, this is a good time in your life to get on the program together, the cognitive behavioral therapy program, first and foremost, get that out of the way, and then go into basics in Buddhism so that you guys can learn how to live in harmony with each other, reestablish trust, and know what trust is, trust, loyalty, all those really deep, meaningful words that's in committed relationships, and pretty much hit the reset buttons, and it's, the Buddha taught impermanence. He also taught rebirth. And what is impermanent and what is rebirth? Well, there's 2 types of rebirth. Number 1, there's that rebirth where if you don't let things go in your life, then you'll reborn into another human, reborn into another animal, reborn into another creature, or hell or heaven. That's too far to think about. Heaven, hell, who cares? The most immediate rebirth is recycling of the past. Okay? Birth of a thought, death of a thought. Birth of an emotion, death of an emotion. See, this is why people use drugs and alcohol, right? Because they have this emotion, this thought that gives rise to this emotion. then this emotion causes them pain, then they don't want to deal with the pain right now, so they lead to alcohol. And so birth of a thought, death of a thought, birth of an emotion, death of an emotion. And it's like a vicious pattern cycle. That's why we see, people who are addicted to alcohol, addicted to drugs. This is a vicious cycle they can't break out of. Make sense?
Yeah, I guess that makes sense. Because sometimes when I get frustrated, I just want to have a beer. But yeah, I told her I was going to stop drinking, so I need to be disciplined and I have that strong will not to do it.
Well, I'm not here to prohibit people from drinking, but you have to exercise discretion as a responsible human and adult. That do I drink to the point where I lose my thoughts, my mind, and act a fool? Do I drink so that I can stay mellow and debrief by the end of the day? Obviously, a lot of people work like labor jobs and they're just exhausted. Or, in essence, sometimes I think too much and there's steam coming out of my ears, and sometimes alcohol cools that down. But the Buddha just wants people to find their middle way. He didn't say you absolutely have to not stop this or too extreme of that. He wants you to really know what you're doing, why you're doing it, and is it good for your health? Does it constitute happiness in your life? Are you at peace with yourself, and does this affect anybody else in your life? So these are just critical questions you want to ask. Obviously one drink leads to two leads to three, and nothing good happens after that. So, and also, my teachings concurs with science. And, like science says, it's okay to have, like a glass of wine after dinner because it's good for your heart. So if science says that it's good, then okay, then you can adopt it, but know not when to abuse it, and not to use your intelligence to say, oh, because science says so I'm gonna have a 12-pack every night, baby. That would obviously you're out. Yeah.
She has never ever seen me like drunk or anything like that. Whenever I do drink, it's the same thing that you were just saying, like 1, 2. And I do labor work, so sometimes whenever I do drink, it's because it's been an exhausting day, and I just kind of want to relax for a little bit, and that calms me down. But it's nothing to abuse it. It's just so I can, like, I guess, be okay. I don't care, like, just to relax. And, I mean, she can tell you that she's never seen me like that.
I've seen him pretty tipsy, though. Not completely wasted or drunk to where he doesn't know what he's doing or what he's saying.
Okay, that was probably like maybe once, and I don't know.
Maybe twice.
And like, who knows how many long time. Right. And that was just because like regular, I guess, just a weekend, but he's never seen me.
But one thing I want to say is that I do feel like when he drinks, we're not at the same level mentally. Because I don't drink. If I do, it's probably just one drink, maybe once a year, if at all. But I don't like that feeling of like him drinking and we're, doing something casual together, hanging out, watching TV or whatever. And it just feels like we're not at the same level mentally. And like we're not vibing at the same level or something. I don't know if you understand what I'm saying.
I do.
Even if it is just 1 or 2 drinks.
I do. It's like watching Cinderella and she's, she dropped her darn shoe up the steps and then here's Junior. So life is the middle way, right? So what is the middle way in Buddhism is that you have to really look at, if you're, oh God, what is this?
We're good?
Yeah, I'm just getting text messages coming in.
Oh, okay.
Ooh, spaghetti-o.
I just got a text too from a monk, actually, from the temple.
Okay.
That's funny.
Okay. So, what is the middle way, right? The middle way is...
Is it like not choosing pleasure or not choosing like to live so much in suffering? just kind of living in the middle way, not having more than what you need, but not having less than what you need as well. I think. I don't know.
Yeah, sorry, I got distracted by the text message. The text message took my attention away for a second. The middle way is, how much are we working? Now this touches finance, right? Because the amount of physical output for the hours of working, and then the money coming in, and the bills at hand, and expenditures and stuff like that. One has to ask, the physical stress, the physical labor stress. One has to be considerate of the other person's what they're doing for work, and why are they coping, the coping mechanism. Alcohol, alcohol, you have to ask, is it for leisure, is it for coping, is it for relaxation? What's going on here? Are we working too much? Why are we working too much? What is the middle way with the money that's coming in? Or is each person independent with their money? So when it comes to work, you got to readjust that. But typically, it's hard. Obviously, this is something that you guys discuss amongst yourself to meet the middle way. I mean, clearly it shows that you're more interested in awareness, stopping to smell the flower, per se, in the enjoyment of watching a movie, the leisurely things that you want to do, and you want Junior to be on point, on par, with the same level of awareness to maximize the capacity for the enjoyment of life in that moment. And not, hey, baby, I'm ready to watch a movie. Yeah, me too.
But I never get like that.
Right.
You always fall asleep. No, he does. He falls asleep.
After.
If he has a drink and comes over to my apartment, if he's had a drink that day, he's more tired. And this is true. He's more tired than if he hasn't had any drinks. That's true.
I'll be a little bit more relaxed.
Yeah. And, these are some things you just have to be considerate of. I just want you guys to be considerate of each other. It's really tough when, you have a single mom, for example, and you have one that works labor work out in the sun, picking up hard things, and the existence of physical pain, too. And alcohol does wonders. For some reason, alcohol does wonders with mental pain, physical pain. That's why there's liquor stores every corner. It's like the quick fix. So, and alcohol affects memory. We know the good things and bad things about alcohol. So again, I think this is a conversation you both should discuss before I jump in to be a mediator when it comes to the judicious use, the intelligent use of alcohol. Okay, so I don't want to say anything yet on it. I don't want to have a standpoint on it yet, because if I have a standpoint on it right now, number one, is too soon. And number two, I don't want nobody to feel cornered, because I'm just now meeting Junior. I need enough information to gather through time a period with frequency and recency to see if there is going to be a ongoing issue with the use of alcohol and how that's going to adversely affect the quality of your relationship. But for now, I just want to define the middle way in that regards. So my plan for both of you is the cognitive behavioral therapy, introduce to you all Buddhism, take the 5 precepts together, and see how the applications of Buddhism can improve the quality of your life, to start over, to forgive, to ask for forgiveness, to let things go, to not hold things, to not hold any grudge, to learn to delete some history too. The mind is a terrible thing. It's like a two-way street. It's like, yeah, it serves us very well on this side, and on this side it's starting to keep scores on things that don't need to keep scores. People do foolish things because, what did Jesus say? For they know not what they do. They couldn't do any better because they didn't know any better. So some things you just have to, and we organisms take a long time to change. That's what I learned, is that some people change faster than others, and literally some other people could take decades to change. Decades. The organisms that we are. very complex, very difficult to figure out. We still don't know how the mind really works. We still don't know how the brain really works. We still don't know how the body really works. So therefore, that just gives you an idea of the complexity of being human, you know. So you have to use Buddhism and the Bible and these things to kind of make sense, and psychology and neurology and history and anthropology and sociology to like figure out who are we, why do we do what we do, you know, to ask these very philosophical questions. All right. Any questions so far?
Do you have any questions?
No questions. Maybe comments, but not questions.
Sure, go ahead. I just don't want to go too far or too much, and then y'all can't follow along.
No. Earlier you had mentioned whenever, like, if you were explaining how men do have the tendency to look around, and you brought up compassion and how we need to look past what they're doing and look. So in the past, that is one of the reasons that I decided to, you know, try again in the relationship, is because I did think I did try to look at it from that perspective, you know, like why he might be doing it, and not just, you know, play the victim game and think, oh, he did this over and over again, you know, just try to have more compassion to what he did.
Right.
And try to forgive and try to, you know, be in the relationship and keep a positive mindset. But it's still a constant battle in my mind.
Yeah. Venerable Lee, you, after observing and listening, you have any comments, suggestion, recommendation? Just want to pick his brain for a second. He's 21, so there's things that I may miss. And he's, let me see his input. He's quite wise for a 21-year-old. As I'm also screening.
I mean, I believe what you said about the history and deleting history is, you know, very on point, because, you know, we have a tendency to do that, because when we were back in the days where there were no clothes and there were animals roaming around, you know, that were trying to eat us, our brain would remember certain things in order to keep us safe. But now, in the time that we're in, present day, our brain still tends to function like that, but a lot of us, we don't understand why. And our brain retains certain things and thoughts and memories, good and bad, but a lot of the times the bad, in order to, as protective functions, if that makes sense.
So the deal with love, this is the deal with love, okay, is that we got to be aware of these three things the Buddha taught. It's very, very real. Very simple, very real. And one has to try to accept this as much as one can. That impermanence, change, and control, okay, which is not everything lasts forever. Junior's not going to last forever. You're not going to last forever. I'm not going to last forever. Any one of us can die any moment. We can agree on that, right? Just walk out. Just walk out of the stairs, trip, and see Buddha and have dinner with him very quickly. Okay. Number 2, people are subject to change. So 5 years ago, who were you? 5, and then another 5 more years, who will you be? Right? You all have to ask yourselves that. So obviously the Buddha was very accurate when he said these 3 marks of existence. We call them the 3 marks of existence. Then the third thing is control, which is me, my, and I. This is my boyfriend. This is my body, my car, my kids. So see the control aspect of that is that rarely are things always under your control, right? Knowing these 3 marks of existence, you guys don't attach onto each other. You try not to. You try to live moment to moment and realize that each day, each person has a choice. This man made a choice to still be with you. This woman made a conscious, clear choice being with you. You know what I mean? And at the time of this choice, not delusional, aware, awake, conscious, alert, alive, not under the, influence of drug or alcohol and prescription medication. So, these are intelligent choices that you all make each day, that you want to be with each other, you want to chill, you want to hang out, and you enjoy that day to the fullest as if it is your last, right? If you love each other, do you say enough of it? But eventually, it comes back to the 3 marks of existence. You should not hope that he's going to be around for another 50 years or 60 years. And vice versa. That's where people mistaken that, and then they try to hang on. What is attachment? Is wanting this person forever. We don't like change. We don't embrace it, and we are resistant to it, and we try to control so that nothing changes. The variables and factors in a relationship, right? All the weirdness in that, if you really think about it. And you guys are 30-something years old. You guys have done this in your previous relationships. We all have done it. I have done it, It's like, yeah, she's really awesome. How am I going to keep her around me longer? What do I have to do? Do I have to make more money? Do I have to buy her more things? Do I need to? She wants a car. Should I get her a car to do that? We manipulate. We do all these things, okay? So bringing an awareness to the 3 marks of existence makes you more comfortable with each other, and you just live day by day for what it is without expectations. With expectations, it depends on the severity and degree of that expectation. It could really destroy your happiness and in turn destroy the relationship faster than expected. So in essence, Buddhism is the art of chilling. I just want to chill with you. I likes you. I just want to chill with you. You want to chill with me? And when you both want to chill with each other, you don't do harm to each other. Obviously, things need to be mutual understanding, consensual, you know what I mean? Like, simple. You live a very simple life in love. Rather than, I don't want you to do this. I don't want you to do that. The Buddha had done said. That's constricting. That's literally like constricting somebody, So again, it's the middle way. And I'm committed to helping you find the middle way in your relationship, so that when things get a little awkward or weird or constricting or stressful or agitating, then you call me. You said, Venerable, can we talk to you tonight? And I hear your story again, and I'm like, all right, what's on your mind? What's been transpiring? What's been happening? What's been going down? Okay. All right. Okay. I am not 911. Oh, God. It's happening again. Some nights be like this, folks. Some nights the phones go off the chain because you have 1 million followers, so you can only imagine the amount of messages come in a day. Okay, if this is an emergency, please hang up and dial 911. Okay.
But I do appreciate the time that you're giving us. That's very nice of you.
All right, so
consider it.
No, it's fine. I can manage it. It's all good. It's just I don't like sometimes the whole day nobody calls, and then they choose like the right time for when I'm trying to help somebody. They call in at the same time. So, do you guys understand the 3 marks of existence so far?
You said impermanence, change, and control?
Correct. Also known as anicca, dukkha, anatta. Impermanence, change, and the practice of the non-self. It's got different words that means pretty much the same.
Practice of the non-self.
Not me, not my, not I. Yeah.
Yes, I did do a little bit of studying on the non-self. And I remember reading about how we can get attached to our identities, but really that might not even be who we really are. So I do know a little bit about that practice. So
yeah. Pretty much what is attachment? Anything that constitutes attachment is when we make it personal. So keep that in mind. Always never forget that. Keep that in mind. When we start making things personal, we have already attached onto that concept or idea. Okay.
That's a good way to put it.
Right. It's like somebody driving by and they're like, F you! And then we're like, F me?
Huh?
Me. Oh, you talking to me. Oh, get my 38. Jenny, get my 38. Right? But but it's just like, how do you know it was directed towards you? Like, and if you think of it from a very comical standpoint, the words are just sounds. We attach meaning to sounds and then made it personal. That's so silly. If you walk up to a frog and you say, do you tell this frog, you slime me, bro, you ain't never gonna climb up this tree? That frog gonna be like, and continue to climb. Right? He can't understand you. So it's so funny. It's like we humans are like, we open up our senses and we can hear things and then we make it personal. So my point is, anything that you start to take personal, now you cultivate this awareness and you realize, oh, okay, hold on. Something's happening right now as what I just heard from him, what I just heard from her, what she had did, and now I'm taking this personally. Like, why am I tripping right now? Over what? If you catch yourself, you will be an awakened being, right? Like the Buddha, awakened being. And then you learn how to regulate your emotions and you respond a little bit more wiser, more trained, more skillful, rather than, like lashing out. Like, what'd you just say? But just starting a fight, it's like starting a fight already. Yeah. Makes sense, huh? Okay. All right. So it's just the art of chilling, just studying the art of chilling. I think this is a good note to conclude tonight's session. I don't think I have any more. And if I do, I should hold it to the next time because too much information for your brain, it will explode tonight. Okay. Any last final questions?
At the moment, I'm just like processing everything and listening. So if I do have any questions, I will think about everything that we just talked about, and I will probably ask those questions in the next session. But I do appreciate everything that we talked about today and everything that I heard. So thank you for everything and your time.
Yeah, you can get my number from Jenny. You can also ask for personal one-on-one counseling, where there are things that you want to resolve or things of your past that you want me to listen to and try to help you through the process. I can do that too. Obviously, it's couples counseling, so everyone knows about each other. But if there's things that is personal, any history of addiction, trauma, or abuse, you can get with me, because sometimes that can bleed into the existing relationship with anger and all this other things. We humans are very complex, so be gentle with yourself. Don't be so hard on yourself. I mean, we all have history of addiction, abuse, and trauma in the family. Especially when parents are screaming, hollering, divorcing, yelling at us, or not good to us. They try to be the best parent they could. They just didn't know how to be a darn parent, because school didn't teach you to be a parent, so they obviously didn't teach them to be a parent, and their parents also, this generational trauma, So so we learn to like really forgive them, even though it's really, really hard. I get it. To look past the behavior. So I just wanted to let you all know these services that I free of charge. I don't charge anything. I can't, because this school of Buddhism does not charge. I can't even ask you for a ride down the street. The only thing I can ask you for is a cup of water. So I just want the start of this relationship to be healthier and more communicative type of relationship, rather than everyone just holding things in and secretly, silently suspicious of one another. That's not a good way to live with each other. You are in your 30s. You should enjoy everything together. Life, right? Because you got 7 years. After 40 years old for men, things go downhill. I'm telling you, that's research, right? And then, of course, for women, menopause. For men's got their own menopause and erectile dysfunction. And so when you look at, so that's the first noble truth in Buddhism, right? There is birth, disease, decay, aging, and death. Aging and decay and disease, those three are just lurking around the corner. So life's too short. Like, why argue now? Especially your prime time right now is like in your 30s. Save up, travel. Because that's in your permanent. Right. So, very good. I will look forward to speaking with you all probably next week. Let's let a week go by with the existing information I've given you and see how well that works out. And Miss Jenny, try to stay on top of it. Keep a journal, okay? So that you can track your own progress. And if you both are interested in the cognitive behavioral therapy workbook, then I will send it to you. It's like 10th grade reading, 300 pages, piece of cake. The more you know, the better you can be a better boyfriend, be a better girlfriend.
That'll be good to have.
Yeah. So in the meantime, until the next time we speak to you, you wanted us to talk about the alcohol thing, right? And to come to an agreement middle way of that.
Yeah,
right?
be considerate of what he does for work, how he works, who he works with, the many ding dongs that he has to work with and tolerate and endure. The stress of a man when he comes home. Sometimes you don't know these things until he shares them with you. So share it with her. But like, baby, I got 5 idiots I gotta manage every single day.
Yeah, I'm definitely going to tell her. Because I don't really see it as a bad thing, but if I know that if I'm going to abuse it, then obviously it will be a bad thing. But I know that I don't. So as long as I can, control myself and be disciplined about the things that I do, then I think it should be fine.
Yeah.
But it will be something that I will talk to her about.
I find both of you extremely intelligent, and I am quite moved by your presence being together, trying to work through this, again, in a very ever-changing, stressful world. The potential and likely chance you both working this out and a long term is very high, percentage very, very high. So don't give up on yourself and don't give up on this relationship. It's challenging, and it's a good challenge to take. Life should be challenging, enough challenge, not like always every day. That's a little bit too much. But with challenge, we learn about ourselves, we learn about the other people, we cultivate compassion. So you all have my blessing and my encouragement as we do this together as a team, as a group. And so yes, so discuss it amongst yourselves. Try to forget most things and start tomorrow new again. And just ignore, pretend you have dementia. Sometimes that does wonders. But the intention of wanting to forget will be the first step rather than hanging on to things. It doesn't serve us anymore. We're here. It's all that matters that we're here at age 33. I thought he was 25 and you were 20, 24. Y'all look young. Yeah. So you still look young, and be young, live young. Sometimes people are in their 30s, but they think like they're 70s. It's like, you will get there. Trust me, you'll get there. You don't gotta beat the clock now. Okay, so I look forward to speaking with you all next week. Let a week go by and see how it goes, okay?
Okay.
All right. You need me sooner, you just text me, okay? All right. Take care.
Okay, thank you, Venerable. Have a good night.
All right. Good night. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Good night.
Okay. All right. Out of all the nights, people always call the wrong time during a very important session. The life of a monk. The life of this monk.